Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided to do something a little bit different this time around. Instead of doing a screen cap study like I have been doing since pretty much the beginning of my channel. But then I was like, you know what? I haven't done a craft video for you guys in quite a long time. I think the last one that I did, oh my god, that'd be like around October of 2024-ish. So, because the last one that I did was a beaded earrings tutorial. And this time around, I decided to do something totally different. We are going to decorate a door sign. And it's really easy. It's really easy. And, it's going to be messy. I am going to say this. It's going to be a little bit messy. However, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, let's get this party started. The materials that you guys are going to need, they're pretty easy to get. The first thing you're going to need is a sign. This one, it was gifted. Somebody gave it to me for my 21st birthday when I was still in college. And they got it from Hobby Lobby, and it's really cute because on one end it says "on a break, come in," and on the other it says "shh, I'm busy." But I got it. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory. When I first got this sign, I will say I liked it, but then I was like, you know what? I'm doing YouTube. I need a little bit more quiet time, considering that, sometimes this isn't really helpful. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to decorate this sign right here. The next thing you're going to need is probably a little hard to get, but it's if you have a craft store near you, it's really easy to find. And that is some gesso. This gesso, I got it at Joann's back in Flagstaff. And even though Joann's is closed, you can easily find it at Michael's, at Hobby Lobby. But and you can also find it on Amazon. I've seen some people that actually get their gesso on Amazon. But if you have a craft store near you and you can find gesso, it's honestly really inexpensive. I think this one cost me I want to say $15 at Joann's. Right around there. So yeah, you need some gesso. And the reason you need gesso is if you're not using a sign that's already decorated like I am, and you want to make it out of cardboard, I will suggest that if you do make it out of cardboard, to have an adult near you. But if you don't have a sign like this one that's just plain, you don't really need the gesso. But if you need to cover up some stuff, the gesso is required. And the reason why I say it's required in this case is because gesso, it acts as a primer and a base coat. So that's why gesso is one of the materials. You're also going to need some paintbrushes. I'm mostly going to be using this thick one here to apply the gesso, but you can also use other paintbrushes as well. These are just some paintbrushes I have from Arteza. They're amazing. I love the quality of them. And I've been using them for, I'm going to say, a solid year because I got them last year on Amazon, and they're really good. And yeah, some nice paintbrushes. The next part is acrylic paint. Now, these are just two brands that I have. You don't have to get both brands. Whatever brand of acrylic paint that you have at home is absolutely okay. This first one that I have here, it's from Apple Barrel. And this one, you can easily find it at Walmart. I know that Walmart is a really common place to get this brand because it's really inexpensive. It's really easy to find. And quite honestly, Apple Barrel, it's really affordable. I would say Apple Barrel is very affordable. But if you're feeling a little fancy, you can absolutely get an even bigger artistic brand like these ones here by Arteza. I absolutely love them. They have really beautiful colors. They also have some metallics in there as well. So yeah, any brand of acrylic paint that you have, it's totally up to you. I just have those two brands. However, I am going to switch it up a little bit, and I might use either my Poscas as well. Now, the reason I'm going to say this, because the reason I'm saying it is because I know a lot of people don't actually have Poscas, in their house. And Poscas, you can easily get them on Amazon. I've seen them be sold at Walmart as well, at Hobby Lobby. They're pretty easy to find at Michael's as well. But yeah, if you want to be a little bit more artistic and you want to get even more fine detail in there and you don't want your brushes to ruin the detail, acrylic paint markers is the way to go. So I'm going to be switching from Posca along with my Sharpie Creative markers. These are just a brush tip. These ones, again, you can find them at Walmart. You can find them on Amazon, Dick Blick, Art Supplies, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I know they sell them there as well. And I also might switch between my Copic Acrylics. This is just, again, you know, like an acrylic marker, but in Copic, and they're really good. I absolutely love the colors on them. And yeah, I'm just gonna switch from paint form to acrylic marker form, but you guys don't have to do what I'm doing. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, guys, so the first step is going to be adding the gesso. And you want to make sure that your brush is not completely wet, but sort of wet. As you guys can see, there's the gesso right there on the brush. And we're going to go for really thin coats. The first coat is going to be super thin. So once you have gesso on your brush, just apply it all over the sign. And I am actually going to fast forward this process so that you guys don't have to see me apply multiple coats. So, cue the time lapse. Okay, so as you guys can see, I got in at least 2 coats, but it's still not enough. I still need more coverage because you can still see the words. Even though there's only like 2 coats in here, if you add more than 1, it's going to be super white, super pristine, and that's the look that I'm going to go for. So I'm going to give you guys more time lapses. Okay, guys, so I've gotten at least 3 coats in. However, I do kind of want to expedite the process of drying the gesso. So the next thing I'm going to do, again, if you are a young one, please have an adult with you, be it your mom or your dad. What I am going to do is actually get out a hair dryer and dry the gesso to really expedite the process. Most artists, they use a heat gun, but I don't actually have that with me at the moment. So instead, I'm going to use a hair dryer. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so this is my actual hair dryer. I do just want to say that if you are going to use a hair dryer, preferably use it in the lowest setting. So you see in this case, I'm going to go 1 on the heat. And we're going to go with low speed. So this is going to be loud, but you see, it's as the air comes out, it's not coming out super hot. It's only coming out warm enough to actually dry the gesso entirely. And I know you guys are seeing my fingers are messy. That's totally okay. So yeah, you're just gonna move the hair dryer in circles. A heat gun would actually help expedite this process, but like I said, I don't have a heat gun with me at the moment. so this is pretty close. You know, this is pretty close. Given that this sign is actually cardboard, the reason I actually have it at a low setting is because if I were to put it at a high setting, chances are it's going to be pretty hot if I decide to touch it. So that's why I have it at a low setting. And also another thing that affects drying time, not just with gesso, but with acrylic paint as well. Actually, cap that off. With acrylic paint as well is room temperature. So if you're somewhere where it's really humid, the drying time is going to take longer. If you're somewhere that it's really dry in climate, the drying time is going to be quicker. So you really want to take that into account when you're doing these types of crafts. All right, so now I'm gonna turn off the hair dryer and I'm gonna do the touch test. And the touch test is just to make sure that the coats are nice and dry and ready for me to move on. Okay, so I'm touching it. No gesso is coming off on my fingers, which means it's ready for the next coat. So cue once again a time lapse. Okay, guys. So as you just saw in the time lapse, I think this is coat number 5. We're not quite there yet. I think we're going to add 1 or 2 more coats. However, we are going to once again expedite the process. Again, hair dryer, low setting. You can either go side to side, you can go in circles. I prefer to go in circles just because, you know, that way every single area gets that little bit of warmth. This is what happens when you use gesso, guys. You gotta like make sure it dries. One thing that I will say with gesso, you guys, is that once you're done using it, cap it off right away. You saw right there, I just put on the cap. You don't want your gesso to dry and let it harden. That's what gesso does. You know, gesso is kind of like concrete. It dries up and it hardens. And when it hardens, it means you're not able to use it anymore and you need to spend your money once again on buying gesso. So that's why you want to make sure that even if you're not using it and you're still going to continue to use it, just put the cap on. It's really like trying to prevent the gesso from hardening. Okay, so I think that's good enough. Whoops. Again, touch test. No gesso on my fingers. But we're still going to add 1 more coat. Cue the time lapse. Okay, guys. So this is, I believe, coat 6 and 7. It's really nice and white. However, I want to get to the painting. And I don't know about you guys, but we're going to expedite this process once again. So, like I said, if you don't have a heat gun, use a hair dryer. Keep it on the low setting. On the lowest setting you can find. A lot of hair dryers are very different. And once again, just going to blow dry the gesso. Make it nice and dry. And that's the thing with gesso. Gesso is kind of like a white acrylic paint, but with the benefit of priming. That's why I love gesso, you know, because it's like a primer and a paint all in one, but it mostly benefits as a primer. Okay? So we're just going to keep going in circles for a few more seconds. And given that this sign is cardboard, going in the lower setting is actually going to benefit me here. Okay, and we are actually going to stop this. Okay. Okay, we're going to do the gesso touch test. Okay, it's looking pretty nice and dry. So now we're going to move on to the painting. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, but first things first, you gotta throw out your painter's water. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I'm actually going to put my gesso off to the side, cap it off completely. And now we're going to move on to the fun part, which is decorating. So, I actually forgot to mention this during the materials side of the video, but you're also going to need a paint palette. This one I got off of Michaels. I know it's a little dirty, but you know, it works. If you don't have a paint palette at home, you can also use a paper plate. I've seen a lot of people do that as well. Or you can also use just a regular plate. Just make sure you wash it right after you're done using it. But yeah, preferably use paper plates as well. And you're also going to need a cup full of water. Preferably sink water and not the water that you use to drink, because you're going to get this pretty dirty. And you can also use either a paint pillow like this one that I have here, or you can also use a old rag that you have lying around your house. Just make sure you get your painter's permission if you are going to use an old rag, because it's going to get a little messy. Alrighty, so who's ready to paint? Because I am. So this side is actually going to say, come on in. And for the base color, whoops, turned on the hair dryer accidentally. Okay. So, for the base color on this, I am actually going to whip out a little fun material here to really make the process easier. I'm going to whip out my Posca Mop Arts. If you guys have not seen these, I've actually used these to paint the doghouse at my grandma's house. If you haven't seen that video, I'll make sure to link it down below. But yeah, I'm going to use these. And these are actually pretty pricey on Amazon. They're really pricey, but if you're on a budget, like I said, you can just stick to acrylic paint. Same thing, does its job. However, but the reason I'm using my Mop Arts, is to actually, you know, make the process easier. As you guys can see, they're really dirty. I got them extremely dirty during the doghouse video because I was working pretty hard, so much so that I even got my hands dirty and I got them dirty as well. But it's okay. And just like a regular Posca, if you have Poscas at home, you're going to shake it. And the really cool part about this marker, you guys, let me show you. It has a ball tip at the end. So, just like a regular Posca, you want to be very careful with this because given that the tip is really like round, if you push it, paint will come out. And if you have the Mop Arts, you pretty much know how they work. If you don't, they work just like Poscas, but like I said, the tip is rounder and it lets out more paint than normal Poscas. And the reason why I'm whipping up my Mop Arts for this is to, again, make the process easier for me. But at the same time, I also want to show you guys like other ways that you can decorate your door handle as well. And the cool part about the Mop Arts is that with one base coat, with one coat, the color comes out beautifully. If I need to do more than one coat, the cool part about Poscas is that they dry really fast. So that's why I love using my Poscas whenever I can. Now, if you feel the paint coming out kind of dry, just squish it a little bit. Don't give it a big squish. Just squish it a teeny tiny bit, like a little push. And then you'll have your paint flowing out again. See? Not that hard. However, we're going to expedite this process, but I'm actually going to do the time lapse for blow drying it. So cue the time lapse. Okay guys, so I just finished using up the hair dryer. And now the same thing we did with the gesso. Just going to touch it, see if it's wet. And you can see right here it's still a little wet. But like I said with Poscas, they dry really fast. And I actually did not want to spend the hair drying time on this little area in particular. Like you see these little spots? That means this area is still wet. So if I were to touch it, I'm going to get paint on my finger. And we're not going to touch it. But for the most part, it is dry. And now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, add gesso and the base color. So clearly, as you can see, the other side, yes, it got dirty. Yes, it's going to have gesso. And that's totally okay. That is totally fine because we're doing the same thing to this side anyway. So if we got it dirty in the first place, no biggie. So cue the gesso montage. Actually, before we begin with the gesso montage, I'm just going to show you guys a little something that I'm doing here with my brush. I'm getting it wet just slightly and removing some of the excess water. The reason why I wet my brush is because I want the bristles to be flexible enough for me to actually manipulate either the paint or the gesso, whatever it is I'm using on it. So, once again, whip out our gesso, open it up, and now cue the gesso montage. Okay guys, so this is just the first coat of gesso. And as you can see, it covered like pretty much everything I might still add another coat, preferably right here where the door handle is going to be. But I'm going to expedite the process. Once again, hair dryer in hand, low setting. Again, you can go side to side, you can go in a circle motion. It's up to you. And I actually love, using my hair dryer when it comes to crafts like these, because gesso, I don't know why, but gesso loves to take its time when it comes to drying. And if you're someone like me who is impatient, you're like, no, I want it to dry right away. This just does the work for you. But yeah, you just want to either go side to side, you can go in circles. And once again, I'm going to expedite this process a little bit faster. Okay guys, so you just saw me during the hair drying time lapse that I also added a second coat of gesso, and I just blow dried it again. So once again, we're going to do the gesso touch. And doesn't seem to be coming on my fingers. I know you guys see gesso on my fingers and you're thinking, oh, it's still wet. No, it's not. It's actually old gesso that I still have on my fingers. Okay, so I think 2 coats is just enough. We're actually going to put our gesso away. And once again, moving on to the fun part, the coloring. And this side is going to be red. Once again, I'm using my Posca Mop Arts. And I'm just shaking it up. Shaking it real nice. Oh, man. Okay. You actually get a good arm workout when you're shaking these, by the way. But anyway, as you guys can see with the Mop Arts, they're a round tip. And just like we did with the baby blue, actually, let's check on our baby blue here. Okay, so we have some gesso spots. It's totally fine. We're going to fix those later. But this side's going to be red. And this side is actually going to say, I am busy. And this side's going to say, come on in. So, take your color of choice. If you are using the Mop Arts, give it a little push. And then, just use your Mop Art like you normally would. If you don't have the Mop Arts, that's totally fine. You can absolutely use acrylic paint as well. I just didn't want to waste all my other Posca markers coloring this, because given that they're a finer tip, I was going to take forever, and I did not want to take forever. So I thought, you know what? I have my Mop Arts. Might as well use them as well. So yeah. And finish it off. Bingo! Okay, so as you guys can see, the red is pretty potent and it shows tremendously. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna expedite the process once again with the hair dryer. So cue the montage. Okie dokie, so the red looks pretty dry. Now we're gonna turn this around. And as you guys can see on the light blue, there are some little baby spots that have gesso on them. Normally, I would use my light blue Posca to fix it up. But because we're kind of on a little, I wouldn't say time crunch, but it's a slight hurry, I'm just going to use the edge of my Mop Art to cover up the little spots. And just like that, it's as if those spots did not come out. Now you see them, now you don't. Okie dokie. So now we're actually going to get to the fun part, which is decorating. But first, you got to wash your brush and you got to remove the paint water. I will be right back, you guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, guys, so now we're going to move on to the actual decorating. Okay, so for the decorating aspect of it, I actually am going to use my acrylic paints. So since this side is going to say come on in, I changed my mind. I know I said that this side was going to say come on in, but I thought, oh, it's red, it's perfect for when I'm recording YouTube. So I decided that the blue is going to be, oh my gosh, hold on one second. So I decided that the blue is actually going to say come on in. Just fixing up my little mistakes with my light blue Posca. Actually, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm back. Just had to fix the little mistakes. But anywho, now that we're back, I'm actually going to use my own acrylic paints, to actually do the lettering. So I am going to use, for my first color, I'm going to go with Apple Barrel in bright yellow. And cue the montage on the decorating, because we're going to do this in time lapses. Okay, guys, so this is the first side. I know it doesn't look like much, but I like it. You know, it's nice and simple. It's very classy. Got a couple hearts and a little smiley face, and I like it. You know, it's really, really, really fun. So now we're gonna once again expedite the process with the hairdryer, and then we're gonna move on to the other side. So cue the drying montage. Okay, guys, so now it is nice and dry, and I know you're thinking, what am I gonna do with this remaining yellow paint? If you don't have a paper plate and you want to keep it, just take the paint bottle that you have here and very carefully scoop the remaining paint back into the bottle. This way you're not wasting any paint and you have some more for later. So yeah, you just want to seal it. You want to cap it off once you're done. And then you're going to clean your paint palette either with a napkin or like I'm doing here with a little rag right there. Okay, so now that this side is dry, we're going to move on to this side. And this side, whoops, got some paint on my nails. On this side, we are actually going to use a white paint marker. Here I'm pulling out my Copic Acrea in Snow White. And with the Acreas, you want to shake them at least 20 to 30 times. Once you gave it a nice little shake, give it a nice shake right there. Now let's see. Okay, perfect. Then you push it down. I pushed it down on my painter's mat. And now we're gonna move on to decorating this side. Cue the montage. Okay, guys, here is the final result. I might add a few more coats of yellow in there, but this is all I got for now. But yeah, I love how it came out. So here's the first side, and then here's the second side. And you saw that I also switched to my Sharpie Creative Marker. I needed a little bit more white, and I decided to switch there. But yeah, it's been nice to get back into the craft videos, you guys. I hope I can pull out some more. Yeah, you just have to wait and see. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please, 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 please subscribe. If you enjoyed my video today, give this video a like if you enjoyed it and you have fun with it, because that was the whole purpose of this video, to actually have fun with it. And oh, I got gesso in my hair. But yeah, I hope you guys had fun with it. Ding the notification bell so you don't miss out on more fun and awesome content, awesome videos. Lots of fun stuff are currently, in the works, and I can't wait for you guys to see everything that I got planned. And yeah, just be nice in the comment section if you are going to comment. And yeah, I guess that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.